Dia might want to leave.
All right, I think we are live now. And so I hope, can everyone see me now?
Dia might want to leave.
Okay. All right, I think we are live now. And so okay, we're live. I hope, can everyone see me now?
Dia might want to leave.
Okay. All right, I think we are live now. And so and now I don't know. Okay, we're live. I hope, can everyone see me now? Okay. All right, I can't see myself, so let me see. Let's get past this technical difficulty.
I think we are on, Joni. So you might want to just. I think you have to mute yourself on there, right?
That's okay. Let me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I've muted myself. So everyone out there, sorry for the technical delays. We were trying to do everything a different way and we just couldn't get it. This was our very first time to do it this way, and we needed more help. So anyway, we're here. I hope everyone is going to be able to connect with us. We're going to do it the old way we used to do it. We're going to try to do it a new way. But hold on a second. I'm going to make sure I can see what's going on. Okay. All right. So, okay, Shri, can you hear me? Is everything?
I can hear you, Joni. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you fine. I just can't see all the comments and everyone and where they're at, and I want to be able to answer everyone. So
it's on YouTube. I have it up, Joni. I can read it out.
Okay, so Shri, you're going to be my my question. The girl that's going to answer.
Natasha says, "Where's Austin when you need him?"
Oh, he was here. He was here. It was just we were trying to.
He was instrumental in helping us to get on, Natasha.
Yes, and
and
Dia
so was Dia.
We had our whole team here and we couldn't figure it out. So
we were trying to do something a little different, and it was just a little confusing.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, we're here and I apologize for being late, everyone, but we have a lot to discuss. So I hope we haven't lost everyone in our delay. And I hope people have been able to somehow figure out how to come on with us where we are right now, because we're at a different link than we were before. So let me bring this up. Okay, I still can't see any of the chat or anything, but that's okay. You can see it. Okay, Shri, let's get going. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about...
And you know, spoiler alert, right? We're going to talk about... Joni, you want to do the honors?
Yes, I do, because I'm saying, what's been happening? We have the biggest event, I think, in a lifetime going on right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's talking about it like they should. Do you have any clue what I'm talking about? Shri, look over there in the chat. See if anybody gets what's going on.
Yeah, let's see if anybody can guess what this huge event is, because there has been so many distraction tactics going on all around us, guys.
Yes.
Right. So, and we are not seeing what in reality is going on. And it's something that Joni and I have been predicting for a long time. Give you a hint, Uranus, Rahu, right, in Aries. So let's see if anybody is able to guess. So I see a bunch of you are, oh, you guys are smart. Look at that. Aliens, UFOs, aliens,
That's
ET.
That is it. Yes. Why isn't the world like over the moon over this? I mean, really, now they've come out. The government's come out. It's real. It's happening. Finally, we all knew it, though. You know, it's not like it's really and truly news to us, but it should be like front stage, center stage with everything. This is the biggest event really in a lifetime. It's happening right now. Are you believing it? Finally, they're saying, yes, there's aliens. Yes, we found bodies. Yes, their mechanics, the speeds that we're tracking them at is something beyond this world. We can't figure out, according to aerodynamics, anything we know about physics. What they're doing with their spaceship is totally impossible from the standpoint of what we know about science. So it's out there now.
And they say that all the technology that's coming out now, Joni, it's apparently things that we got from, extraterrestrial knowledge.
It's, yeah, we've been talking about this for years and everybody said it's conspiracy theory. There's no such thing as aliens. Now it's here and what? Everybody, and I laugh because you go on the media and the news and what are they talking about? They're talking about Barbie and Kim Kardashian and I mean, is this really the level of intelligence of our planet right now? No wonder the aliens don't want anything to do with us in terms of letting us know. But, wake up. This is the biggest news ever. And one of the reasons why I think it's coming out now, Shri, is because not only the Uranus, Jupiter, Rahu conjunction in Aries, that is gigantic, but don't forget Saturn right now is in the nakshatra Shatabishak. And that nakshatra represents the sky watcher. Now, every 30 years, Saturn goes through that portion of the zodiac, but now it is on the United States moon while it's there at 8 degrees. Right now, it's been going back and forth between that degree mark. Why do I say that degree mark is such a big deal? I'll tell you why. Because the United States moon is 7 degrees of Aquarius in the 3rd house, which can deal with travels, airships, things like that. But this is the nakshatra of the sky watcher in space. And when I wrote my book on Pluto, which I don't have it handy. Do you have my book on Pluto handy, Shri? I'm gonna have to go get it.
Yeah, I have to get it too from the
Well, here, I'm gonna run, go get it. Hold on.
Okay.
So I'm in this corner. I want everybody to know that I wrote about this in this book, Pluto, Control, Power, Surrender, and Rebirth. In this book, I wrote about the Roswell incident and when it happened and what it was all about. And at that time, the moon was conjunct the United States moon. The sun was conjunct the United States sun. And there were a lot of other things in that Roswell crash chart that predicted that was the day the United States would change because of some discovery. And now it's back. Now the discoveries, the cat's out of the bag. And now I think things are going to really change exponentially because of this. And we've got Saturn's going to go back and station, not just transit over that degree, station. That's what makes this so much different than any other time that Saturn just crossed over every 30 years, that mark in the chart. So this is changing our world forever. Didn't I predict that for July? We're in the last day of July, but this is now, this is happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's the biggest news ever. So Shri wanted to say a few things about what's been testified about the aliens.
So much. I mean, they started this whole thing in 2020, Joni, right? I mean, that's when, the bill was signed about in the COVID relief bill. I think they had tucked it into it somewhere in the appendix or something saying, everything needs to be released to the people. So this happened, I think in December 2020. And they have been releasing things, but you're right. This month is when all those, Congress hearings have been happening and all these things have been coming out. But I think last year, there was this space chief in Israel. He released a lot of artifacts saying that, there is a federation of it's an extraterrestrial federation and we are a part of it. And they are doing everything together with the US government and all the governments of the world. So all of this really, like, it sounds like a science fiction movie, right? But here's the thing. What I've been noticing, and I did a lot of research on this, so I'm going to share some charts with you guys just to kind of show you some of the things that we've been seeing. But back in 2008, they started all these, if you notice, Hollywood started all these movies, right? With, starting with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then the show Ancient Aliens started. I kind of feel, Joni, and I don't know if you agree, that they've been putting this into our, media, so that people accept it when it really does happen. Because it's been going on for, since 2008, I believe, all these movies, and especially the younger generation, to them, it's like, oh, what's new, right? Yeah, we knew this whole time. We've been seeing it in movies the whole time, So that's something that I noticed, but I definitely think the Rahu Uranus has something to do with it, because I went back and looked at all the times that Rahu and Uranus were together. And each time the eclipses, so it's if the ecliptic path, right, that axis, Uranus was affected by that axis, there was an issue or something that was extraterrestrial or UFO related that year. So I can share some of those charts just to show everybody what's going on, because when this started happening, this conjunction, especially, and then Jupiter came in later on, right? We've been talking about this, that this is going to happen. And of course, among other things, but this was one of the main things. So if you want, Joni, I can start sharing so we can show everybody the August predictions, and then go into more of the extraterrestrial things, and we'll talk about everything that's going to happen in this upcoming month.
Yeah. Yes. And, they said in some of the hearings that they have had this in 1930s that they started, where they had a crashed ship. Of course, we know 1947, but they said this started in the 30s. This is remarkable. They've kept it from us this long.
Yes.
No.
So I did some research, and I saw, and I haven't, looked at every time Rahu and Uranus were together, but when they started the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that year, in fact, it's not just Marvel, don't get me wrong, there was the Ancient Aliens show, and everything that year was to do with aliens, right? You see, Rahu and Uranus were together. And then you go back to Roswell and look what happened then, Rahu, Uranus together. Then you look at Project Blue Book. You see Rahu, Uranus trine, because the eclipse would have happened here. There's a trine going on, right? And then look at this. I looked at a bunch of abductions, and this is one of them that I saw, Rahu, Uranus together. So there's a lot of research that needs to happen here, Joni. But, I'm noticing that with this combination that has been going on since, the past few months, this is really, and another thing with Jupiter in the mix too, right? This is a rare thing with Rahu, Jupiter, and Uranus all coming together on the eclipse axis. So it's a big deal. So, when you look at all these other events and you're like, oh yeah, I can see that there's something with extraterrestrials and UFOs, and not just that, right, guys? I mean, this is unconventional things we're talking about. So even technology, new things that have been coming out, right? It's in Rahu is in Ashwini Nakshatra right now. That is about pioneers starting new things, and the kind of information that's coming out about the technology, like the iPhone or the virtual reality, or all of that. It's all connected to Rahu and Uranus, if you think about it. And then also, Joni, the new thing that we have been researching, right? Nadi astrology. These two, of course, Nadi doesn't use outer planets, but Rahu stands for everything that has to do with space and technology and extraterrestrial. So I think this is telling us a story here,
I agree. This is just life-changing, truly.
So if we look at the transits, and this is what I just want to show everybody, Joni, what you were talking about, Saturn and Shatabhishak, guys. This is the sky watcher. And as you can see, Saturn is retrograde in Shatabhishak, right? So this is, again, bringing out a lot of things that are happening in the sky, right? And one of the things that we see all the time that everybody talks about is UFOs. So that's definitely one of the reasons why we thought we'll talk about that in this video. But here, if you notice, look at what's going on here. As Saturn goes retrograde, it's going to get closer and closer to that degree mark of Rahu. And it's aspecting it. It's a full aspect. Notice that? And Rahu and Ashwini, Saturn and Shatabhishak, both nakshatras have a lot to do with this kind of, groundbreaking things. It's about secrets that are coming out into the open in terms of the sky and technology, right?
Yes, and Jupiter and Uranus are going to exactly conjunct. I think it's next April at around 27 degrees, 26, 27 degrees of Aries. So that's going to be around next April. So I think everything will be out by that time. It's all building, but now, I mean, really and truly, it's out there. But nobody's getting us excited. This is such a huge, big deal. I'm just kind of like,
it is.
What?
It is.
What's going
and
on?
the problem is there's so much going on right now, Joni, in the world in terms of events, right? And if you, especially in United States, and I know a lot of you out there are going to agree with us when we talk about, everything that is to do with the election is now center stage, right? And then we have that momentum is building up, right? Mid-August, the debates are going to start. So everybody's looking at all these candidates and what they're saying and how they're answering the questions, and do they have solutions? So that's kind of blurring everything, Joni, because, I think that's the news right now, along with, we have everything going on with Biden and then Trump's, the things that are the legal cases that are going on with him. So I feel like there's a lot of distraction tactic. Now it can be one way or the other, right? Are they trying to distract us from this or from that?
Exactly. But there was one thing that we were discussing last night that I had no idea. You told me, and you sent me the news report, is a fact that how Trump put this in one of the, what was it? Explain to everybody exactly what you were telling me last night.
So, yes. So in 2020, December, when the COVID relief bill was signed, you guys can go Google this, but when he signed the COVID relief bill, there was an appendix or some section in there where he tucked in a little clause that said that, the United States government has 180 days to release all this information to the public about extraterrestrials. Now, that was kind of surprising because it has nothing to do with COVID relief. So we don't know why it was in there, and we don't know if somebody didn't read it, or maybe they didn't know it was there and the bill just got signed into existence. But I feel like that was a turning point in this, Joni, because if that didn't happen, like right now, the kind of hearings that are happening may not be happening,
Exactly. So people are still, and you know what I've been saying so often, I said, with the facts out here, people are still saying they don't believe it. And it's like, here we have the facts, but people are still going to believe what they want to believe. They'll be in denial, but it's,
I agree.
It's out.
And what I was talking about rulership, Joni, was, as you know, around mid-month, right? I think it was around the 18th. Was it around? Yeah, it was around the 18th. Look at all the energy in Leo, 17th and the 18th. Right. And this is around the time when they're starting the debates and all that. So, like we have said in the prediction videos, guys, there's going to be a lot of focus on rulers and leaders and, all of that at this time, especially in the United States with all these candidates, right? You might have started seeing all the astrological prediction videos about each candidate and all that. But this is a time when that'll be at its height. Right? Because all eyes are on them. Look at this. Leo is the stage.
Yes.
Right? This is when all those debates are happening. Look at that. 4 planets in there.
Right. This is big. Now, go back to, now the 18th is actually the day that Mars is going to enter into Virgo. And Mars is going to be in Virgo till about October 3rd. And this was one of the main reasons why I thought there's going to be another pandemic. And I have been predicting this and warning people a month ago, seriously saying, get ready, start, building up your immune system, because this next September, starting when Mars goes into Virgo, which is going to be the 18th of August, all the way through October 3rd, there's going to be an incredible surge of, some kind of disease potential that's going to scare people. I don't think it's going to be another pandemic, but they're going to act like it is. So I've been reading the news, and just recently they say that the coronavirus is coming back. And if you will look at that Mars being in Virgo, it is going to be in a yod pretty much with Saturn and Jupiter. And when it comes to the opposition with Neptune, which will be about the 22nd, I believe, move it up to where it reaches, around the 22nd, there we go. Mars and Neptune oppose each other. Now, Neptune is deception, deceit, denial, corruption, but it's also the indicator for disease. And when you have Mars in the sign of Virgo, which rules disease and health, and Neptune is opposing it, plus Mars is creating a quincunx. By the way, the quincunx is, I consider it the most difficult aspect between planets. It's when a planet is 6 and 8. If you'll count from Mars to Saturn, it is 6 placements. And if you'll count from Mars to Jupiter, it is 8 placements. So that is the yod from Saturn first, then a yod to Jupiter. But I mean, it's creating a yod with those 3 planets in Aries and Saturn, plus opposing Neptune. All those planets represent, in my opinion, something is going on with health, healing, and disease. So, we've got to be strong. We've got to strengthen ourselves. And if you haven't gotten my newsletter, guys, my newsletter comes out every week. But in this newsletter that just came out today, I go into great detail about the disease potential, but what you can do to strengthen yourself, because it's not only diet, exercise, sleep. Of course, those are imperative to keeping ourselves healthy, but our consciousness. And what I'm always telling everyone is to raise your consciousness, and that will eliminate the fear, because fear is what ingrains us with, fear causes disease and disease causes fear. So all of that put together, we've got to strengthen ourselves. And what does that mean, raising our consciousness? Raising our mind to where we're focused in the positive, not being consumed with, oh my God, what if we die? What if the world's ending? All that crazy stuff they kind of give us great fear about with an idea of a pandemic coming back, everything shutting down, losing business, all of those fear-laden things. We can raise our consciousness. And I gave some very explicit tools in my newsletter about how you can do that. And I also gave some tools in my YouTube for the month of August, because I think September is going to be the worst. September is where everything really starts kicking in. But now we have to watch this. This is very important in terms of health and disease. So you have
And it's also stress, right, Joni? Because when the 6th house has to do with stress. So when you have a planet like Mars in Virgo, it increases the stress levels. We kind of see everything bigger than it is. So that's another reason why, like Joni said, understanding the reality, connecting to yourself and bringing your own consciousness up will help us increase the mass consciousness. So, I absolutely agree with that. Now, if you go back, Joni, do you want me to go to the...
Go to the new moon that's on the 16th. That's an important date.
Right here.
Yes, because look at that new moon where the sun and the moon come together in Cancer around 29, 28 degrees. if you'll notice, Uranus squares it right there. So that's square to the new moon, plus the new moon is Gandanta. What does Gandanta mean? It means it's at the last degrees of a water sign. Very first degrees of a fire sign is Gandanta. And Gandanta means a knot. It means something that's not working very well. But my teacher always told me it represented drowning, and that means figuratively or literally. So what does that mean in terms of drowning? Drowning means losing control. So I think, and its literal effects could be, hey, we're in hurricane season here in the United States. It's going to start to really become intense with storms, floods, and people will feel like they're losing control over everything that's going on too.
Right. And that reminds me, Joni, you know, one of the articles we have this month in the August issue of Joni's Astrological Insight magazine is to do with this particular transit that's happening for Mars in Virgo. So make sure you subscribe to the magazine to read more about it. And like Joni said, Joni's spiritual insights and the predictions there's more detail in there with all the tools that Joni talked about. That's also in her newsletter. Now,
do you have the picture of the cover of our magazine?
Oh yes, I do. And this is an exciting magazine, guys, because
very exciting.
This time, I'm just gonna open this up. This is can you see this, Joni?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. So here's the cover, and our special interview is Aaron Doty, and Joni interviewed Aaron, in fact. So Joni, you want to talk a little bit about him?
Aaron is an incredible tool for empowerment. My God, he tells his whole life story on the interview, and he pretty much was talking about how he was a shoe salesman, but then he started using the law of attraction and how it truly worked and changed and transformed his life. So he took it a step further, and now he's doing workshops all over. He just did one in Sedona, and he's doing them in LA, all over the US and the world, to empower people spiritually. What he's doing is showing people, giving people the tools, the techniques, everything that he has done to absolutely transform and change his life. It's just an incredible empowerment story. It's so inspirational. And he is an inspiration to the world. I mean, he's got millions and millions of subscribers to his YouTube channel. But most of all, he tells us how he did it so that we can all experience the success, empowerment, and most of all, the spirituality that he has changed his entire life with. And it's just a really good feel-good story, but most of all, he wants to empower the world and other people to be their greatness that they are. So Aaron is so inspirational and so magnetic. I mean, you want to learn more about him. He's amazing.
And it's funny because he came from being a shoe salesperson to, the leader in all kinds of YouTube spirituality channels, so that's just such an inspiring story. Because he says at one point, and I'm not going to give everything away, guys, you guys have to read the entire article, but at one point he does say that he made an intention on a day to put one YouTube video out every day. So, that's the kind of willpower we are talking about. I think, and he empowers everybody else to do it. He says, if I can do it, you can do it, right? So and he has a class coming up in August. So that's the reason why we featured him this month.
Yeah, so look for his class. And another thing is, I read his chart. That's how we got to know each other. He had called me for a consultation. he is so into Vedic astrology. He is really into, you know, everything to do with Indian, and he's just an amazing soul. So we're real excited about that interview, and we've got so many other articles. What are the other articles that are going this month? Everyone probably wants
We
to.
have, oh yeah, we have our usuals, right? We have our Vastu article on how to decorate kids' bedrooms. I particularly like that article a lot, by Michael Maestro and Robin Maestro. And then financial astrology, we have Joni's pick for the stock pick that she has for financial astrology. And, you know, she has given her reasons as to why you should or should not invest in it. I'm not going to give that away. And then we have Who's in the News is Ricky Martin, as you could see on the cover. And Odelia writes that article, one of our amazing students at the university. And we have our Living in Flow by Audrey Beagle. Astro Inside is Chris Christie, keeping in tune with all our political stuff going on right now. So we have that. And then Juliana Swanson, an amazing astrologer, she has written about the Venus retrograde cycle. You know, the pentagram. She's talked about that, and the flower, and how Venus, you know, traces that path in the sky. So that's amazing. And then we have about nakshatras. We do that every month. We have a few nakshatras that we delve deep into. So there is a lot of articles in there, guys. So, you know, go ahead and, you know, make sure you subscribe so you can read all of these articles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So you can subscribe to the magazine right below this YouTube on my YouTube channel. If you don't want to go to, you can find it all on my website too, though, by the way. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So then coming back to this big stuff that's happening here, Joni, with the Jupiter Uranus. You know, another thing that I noticed with this also, Joni, is, you know, the technology, the innovations that are happening right now in the world. You know, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff around AI, right? People are talking about, you know, how there are these apps that make it look like you are looking into the camera when you're not looking into the camera. It can mimic your facial expressions. It can make, you know, it can make it look like you're on the video when you're not. You know, that kind of technology. It's scary.
Yeah.
So let me see if there are any questions here. If you guys have any questions for the month of August, so much discussions going on here.
Yeah, I want to know what they have to say about this month, because it is groundbreaking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so they're asking, do you see anything that may indicate a power outage? 2 weeks ago, I got warnings from 2 unrelated sources and 24 hours to prepare immediately. You know, power and electricity is ruled also by Uranus and Rahu.
Exactly. And that was actually what I was just saying. I got one more thing to add. This month, Uranus is going to station to go retrograde. And whenever a planet stations, that planet becomes, you know, the big thing that goes haywire. Uranus going retrograde, I said it might have to do with earthquakes or earth changes, volcanic eruptions. Hey, it rules electricity. So absolutely, let's, oh, that would be a nightmare with the kind of heat that we're experiencing here in the US.
Yeah.
So that's,
and then there's a question about the Bidens. They want to know about Biden. So let me open up the chart while we talk about that.
well, one thing I've already done, by the way, everybody, I've already done all my YouTubes for August. So if you all didn't know, I pretty much spend a weekend recording all of my YouTubes. So no, I don't have a life. I'm just, I'm always working. But one thing that I thought was very significant about talking about Biden, because, you know, I'm always looking at his chart because he's the president. People wonder why I don't talk about all these other world leaders or people, you know, because Trump's not the president. I'm not talking about him. Biden is our president. So everything that he represents or about his chart is reflective of the United States, what's happening to us. So that's why it's important to, no matter who the president is, to look at their chart. But I was noticing that not only is Saturn going to station on his K2, but his natal K2, which is not an easy thing to go through. So he's coming under a lot of direct pressure. Saturn's going to station at that degree for about 3 months. Start September, October, November, and part of December. It's going to be right around 6-7 degrees. And his K2 sits at 7 degrees of Aquarius. And the whole time that Saturn is there, are you pulling up his chart, Shri?
Yeah, I have it up.
Yeah, so look, that right there, that is where Saturn is going to be standing still in his 4th house. So that's, the 4th house is your security, who you are. Then the other thing is his moon. Yes, see, that's where Saturn is. Then go back to Biden's chart and show where his moon sits, because his moon sits at 7 degrees of Aries. And right there, Saturn, by its 3rd full aspect, is going to be aspecting his moon, which is heavy. That's like, it's in his 6th house. I'm concerned about his health more than anything. Saturn aspecting his moon and sitting on K2. This will be between really September, October, November, and part of December that Saturn is hovering around that degree.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to add?
That's scary because it's the 6th house of health. Right. And your well-being, right? And
Right.
Stress levels. He must be incredibly stressed at this time. And then Ketu in the 4th house, that's a moksha house, so this is a tough transit. And not to mention right now we have that yod as well. So I'm sure even though it's not exact in degrees, the 7 degrees, with Mars anchoring these 2 points through Virgo, right. He must be starting to feel the effects right now with all the talks about the debates and everything that's happening in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, he is under pressure. And another thing I noticed that I talk about in my newsletter is the fact that Saturn for the United States chart sits at 24 degrees of Virgo. So transiting Mars is going to go over Saturn in the USA chart. And it's in the 10th house, representing our leadership, our king. So Mars is going to put another added stressor onto that. And I did a video. I'm not going to give it all away, but I did a video that's going to come out about, I'm looking at this going, oh my God, what's going to happen? So I pulled up the inauguration chart of when he was inaugurated as president. And gosh, I wish I had that chart. I'm not going to give it away, but that inauguration chart reveals the same thing we're seeing with Saturn being on his K2 aspecting his moon. The inauguration chart is heavy duty. You'll see.
And also, Joni, somebody asked about this, and I was going to talk about this too, but I'm glad somebody asked about the dollar, the financial markets. So, yes. And as you know, with the Sade Sati that United States is going through, the moon rules the 8th house in the United States chart, which does rule finances and, money that you lend, you loan, all of that. So, the fact that we have the Sade Sati from mid-September till December, a lot is going to shake about in that area in the financial markets.
Right. Now, another thing that I think is crucial, if you'll pull up the charts again and go to October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, if you'll go to those dates, you're going to see Mars is going to go into Libra and cross over K2. I think it's about October. Yes, there you go. Well, it's October, 2nd, pretty much. No, then right there.
Right there.
The 4th. That Mars K2 is, it was in 2 of the stock market crashes, Mars conjoined K2. Doesn't look like the stock market's crashing though, but it does represent the economy. But it could be, everything could turn on a dime, especially, here's the thing, if we have a really big pandemic type scare again. I mean, if anything, people are going to stop spending and it's going to put our
Right.
world into a financial crisis. That the biggest stock market crash that happened in 1929 had Mars conjunct K2 in Libra. Exactly. And also, I can't remember if it was a 2000, no, it couldn't have been 2008, but there was another crash, I think it was in the 80s, and that Mars K2 was together. This is an indication of terror, actually. It's a difficult conjunction. Actually, the time that I said the pandemic was happening, Mars and K2 came together in Scorpio. And then on September 11th, when we had the Twin Towers come down, Mars was conjunct K2 in Sagittarius. Yes. So, and here's another thing. October is notorious for stock market crashes. So putting all this together, yes, the economy is about to go through a big switch, but I think it's in relationship to all the things that are building right now. As we keep saying, keep your eyes on September. Everything that's happening now is pointing to the focal point of what's going to happen in September. It's all building, it's all happening, but I think the biggest event of all has just come out. The cat's out of the bag. So
Yeah. And then they're asking, Lisa is asking, can you talk a little bit more about the recent hearings on UAPs? Can we expect to see more disclosure? I think absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. This is just the beginning, because they're holding back, I think, a little bit, but once everybody starts coming forward, here's the thing. People have been so afraid because their families, their lives, they lost their jobs. Pilots have lost their jobs. Now it's okay. They're not going to lose everything if they speak the truth now. And that's what I think is important.
And that's what, Lisa, like I was explaining earlier, if you look at all these different UFO events in the past, and of course, this is just a few, right? Every time you can see there's this Uranus, Rahu, and sometimes even Jupiter kind of connection happening. So yes, to answer your question, we do think there'll be more disclosure happening, at least till the end of November, I would think, until the nodes move. But even then, it's going to be pretty groundbreaking, right? This is not like your regular run-of-the-mill kind of stuff that's happening. This is a confirmation to everything that we have heard in the past, and we've never been able to know if it's for real,
Yeah, because they always humiliated people that came out with this. And, even in the news, they kind of like, when they start talking about it, they start making those sci-fi noises and laughing. I mean, this is real. This is not a laughing matter. This is fantastic. This is where we start to realize, we're not alone in the universe, and probably we need a lot of help. Humanity needs help, and this is where it could come from. And that, probably curing diseases and all sorts of spectacular things, which, by the way, Saturn being in Shatabishak will bring out new cures. Plus the Jupiter Rahu, and Rahu being, like you said, in Ashwini, it's the healers. It's the healers to the gods. And Ashwini is also a nakshatra that deals with travel. So all of these things are coming out. We're going to new discoveries for travel, disease. It's an exciting time. It's not a time to be afraid, because there's nothing to be afraid of. It's like we're getting better, we're improving. We just have to open to all the possibilities and get rid of the fear. This is exciting, wonderful time to be alive.
It's a turning point in humanity's, timeline, if you think about it. I mean, I'm sure our grandchildren will be talking about this time, thinking, oh my gosh, remember that time when they disclosed everything about, UFOs and aliens? So this is really exciting. And, of course, you have to take the warnings too, right? Like, make sure you're taking your supplements, and, remember to keep your immunity up and take care of yourself. That's very important. Even otherwise, it's important. But right now, because of Mars and Virgo, that's even more so, right? So we have Maggie asking about chart for NATO. Do you have that, Joni? I don't have that.
I don't either. What is it like when NATO began?
Yeah.
That's a good one. We'll
You
have
know, let's do that next month for sure. Maggie, we'll definitely remember to have that for you next month. Okay. If we can find a date or time for it.
Yeah.
All right.
What other questions?
Let's see. I'm just looking. If Biden's health is looking highlighted, how is Kamala Harris's chart?
That's a good question. Do you happen to have her chart? We can.
I have to see. Just give me 1 second. It won't let me open a chart here without stopping the sharing. So bear with me while I switch back and forth.
Okay. I haven't looked at her chart recently, but I do know that her sun and moon, I think are right there.
It's in Gemini, isn't it?
No, in Aries Libra. And that's right where the nodes are right now.
Thought she had something at 0 degrees Gemini.
It's her ascendant.
That's her ascendant. Okay.
Yeah, or Rahu. Rahu sits in her natal chart on her ascendant.
Okay, right here. So whoever asked that question here, we are sharing the screen. Let's look at Kamala's chart, and we'll be looking at this because you asked. We haven't looked at it before. So let's look at what's going on here. So, right off the bat, I see that October highlight that you made, Joni, with the Mars Ketu. You notice her Jupiter, 12th house at 0 degrees.
Oh, wow. Look at her sun and her moon. I'm so glad they said that, because Rahu is at 4 degrees of Aries right now, and Ketu is at 4 degrees of Libra. I mean, right now, they're exactly on her full moon.
Yeah, she's also going through a Saturn return. Saturn's going to hit her natal Saturn, not exactly, right? But very close to it.
Yes, it's going to station at 6 degrees. Her Saturn's 5. My goodness, this is a lot going on. So what does that mean with her sun? Her sun being with Ketu on it is, that's not an easy time. Rahu on her moon is extremes. There's going to be emotional extremes, and there could be some kind of position change. She could rise with Rahu being on her moon, but with Ketu on her sun, there's a loss at the same time. So this is like incredible that the nodal axis is right over her sun and her moon at the same time. And I'll say this, with the moon in the 11th and Rahu on the moon, the 11th is gains. This might indicate her coming into power.
Right. And also with the sun being with the Ketu, it's almost like, the nodes are the transiting forces here, but at the same time, it's almost like an eclipse energy, right, Joni? Because it's like an extended emotions here, like you said. What I was talking about was the Mars Ketu in October. It'll hit her Jupiter exact with that Mars 8th aspect.
Oh, that's true. Good point. Mars Ketu being right there on her sun and fully aspecting her Jupiter by its 8th aspect. And
that's her 10th. That's her 10th ruler. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Get ready, guys. We're in for a rocky ride. Things are about to really change, and that's how we can see what's going on for the United States, by looking at the rulers of the country.
And then with Jupiter moving into Taurus next year, it will be on her natal Jupiter right off the bat, right? And in May of next year, because it's at 0 degrees. So, that could indicate a change in profession or change in career, right? Because Jupiter rules the 10th house. Right. So, there's something that's happening at that point that she's thinking about in terms of what she's doing. So,
and then transiting Rahu is going to go into her 10th house the end of November.
Yes.
It's going to be there for a year and a half. So she could be put into power.
All right. So I hope that answered your question.
Any other questions?
Ukraine war.
I haven't been following that like I should, because I guess things have kind of quieted down a little bit in that area. What do you think? Have you been watching that, Shri?
No, it's just, with all the other stuff that's going on, I haven't really been following it, but we'll look into that, guys, and we'll come back with that next time too. I think we have the chart of Putin, and we can we can look at that.
Know
Let me
one
see what
thing,
else.
I know Putin has a lot of things in Virgo.
Yeah, that's where Mars is going right
And
now.
that's where Mars is going. So that doesn't bode too well for him.
So UK election, Nicola is asking a question about the UK call an election soon. I don't understand that question. Nicola, if you want to restate that question, we are not able to understand what you're asking. Okay, Hollywood, somebody's asking about unsettling rumors in Hollywood. Not sure what that is. Is it the writer's strike that you're talking about? Tell us more about that.
Well, I made a big prediction about it. I'll go ahead and spill the beans right now because I wrote about it in my newsletter. And Mercury going retrograde in Leo. Leo is the sign of entertainers, in case you didn't know. And Mercury going retrograde, the end of this month of August, the last week of August, Mercury is going to go retrograde and it'll be there, for about 3 weeks. It is not going to be settled, and a lot of things are going to really, really come out. And I think it's going to put a big stranglehold on Hollywood for a while. So a lot of things are about to be revealed, and it's going to be delayed all the more with Mercury retrograde. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then Adel wants to know about the South African chart. Actually, these are good questions. We should have more countries represented here, I think, Joni. Maybe next time we can do maybe 1 or 2 different countries other than United States,
Yeah.
So we'll come back to you with that chart too, guys. Just Senator Michelle Obama replacement for Feinstein. Let me see. I don't understand what the question there is because it was just a statement. How about Taiwan? Do you have the chart for Taiwan, Joni?
Taiwan, I do, but not handy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're the one who's sharing. I do have a chart for Taiwan, though.
If you want, I can pull it up here.
Well, I think we'll have another one of these pretty soon once we figure out how to work the live better. I think there's something where we need to figure something out, and we will have a live where the link and everything will work next time, guys. And we're going to have a lot of countries and everything figured out for you, or have those charts on hand. So
let me see if I have Xi Jinping's chart, because that was something that was asked. So I'm just sharing this right now. I do have his chart.
Okay.
So since we were talking about Taiwan, we can at least look at, Xi Jinping's chart. Okay. So here it is. Can you see this, Joni?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what's getting activated here. Nothing much going on in Leo. I mean, yeah, he has that sun at 0 degrees of Gemini too. Kamala's.
Interesting. And I'll tell you something interesting that's going on. Mars is going into Virgo, right? It's going to cross over his Saturn. And his Saturn sits really close to the United States Saturn for the chart I use for USA. That Saturn sits at 24 degrees of Virgo. So Mars crossing over Saturn in Xi Jinping's chart in the first house is very important. He's under pressure, stress. Saturn rules the 6th and the 5th house. The 6th house can be struggles. 5th house is his mind. He's definitely going through a period where he's perturbed. He's mental worry about something. But all at the same time, it does kind of connect to the United States, because the Saturn in the US chart sits in the 10th house at 24 degrees of Virgo.
Right.
Transiting Mars is going to be there soon, this month.
Yes, then Saturn stations also, it's not really affecting anything in his 8th house because Venus is at 15 degrees. But yeah, I think this is, like you said, this is the major event with Mars going over that, the ascendant, and then the Saturn and the Neptune.
Yeah, well, I'll show you one thing that is going on that is an issue. His moon sits right there where Saturn is forming a quincunx to it. Saturn it was stationed at around 13 degrees Yes, it was stationed exactly at 13 degrees. Now it's moving backwards. I believe right now it's at 11 degrees. If you look where it says today in the middle there, yeah, 11 degrees. So it was forming an exact quincunx with the moon. So things aren't that easy in China right now. There's a lot of stress and pressure with Saturn in the 6th aspecting the moon in the 11th. And you know what I think with Saturn in the 6th aspecting that moon by 6 placements, there can be more disease cropping up in China, such as the coronavirus returning there. So,
and do you think, Joni, the fact that it just got done aspecting his Ketu as well, right? I mean, it's at 10 degrees.
No, it's going to go back and hit that. It's about there
around
right
11
now.
Degrees.
Yeah, because it's going retrograde. So yeah, it's going to quincunx his K2. That's not an easy aspect at all. There's problems, I think, concerning health issues in the health of the country, health of the people. That's what I feel.
Okay. All right, so let's go to any other questions, guys. And thank you guys for donating to the channel. It'll help us do more similar videos like this in future. Let's see, any other questions? Telegram chart with charts and questions. So there's somebody suggesting we could probably do a Telegram for this. We do want to do more of these lives to bring you more country charts and president charts and share more information with you guys, especially when we get into the elections. And of course, we want to share more countries with you. A lot of you guys are from other places.
Yes. Yes. So look for us. We're going to get this all figured out. And we are going to do this on a more regular basis to bring the news of what's going on in the world astrologically. And Shri and I will answer any of your questions concerning, different countries, what's going on, how to protect ourselves, especially spiritually, because raising your consciousness, meditating every day, just a little bit, where you imagine breathing in white light, clearing the body, clearing your mind, thinking good thoughts, saying good things. As we raise our consciousness, we are raising the consciousness around the world, and therefore, really putting a stop to so much spread of fear, which is just devastating. Fear can really paralyze the world and people, and we don't want that. We do have control over ourselves. Maybe we can't control what our leaders are doing or thinking, but we can control our minds and help ourselves, and that way we can really change consciousness in the world. And most of all, I am so excited about our alien friends being revealed to us. I think it's thrilling. I know they have to be good because they could have killed us a long time ago at their island. I mean, they have the technology.
This has been going on since the 30s, right, Joni?
Right.
And they're sharing their technology with us, apparently. And, sounds like,
well,
good
they've
people.
been around forever. I mean, according to a lot of talk shows and things like that, they've been around forever, watching us, protecting us. In my book on Pluto, I talk about how the sites where they were testing, atomic energy. That was where all of a sudden they're there and they extinguish it. Why? Because they don't want us destroying ourselves. And it's kind of ironic, if not, that during this time that the movie on Oppenheimer comes out, when we discover that the alien thing is real. This is amazing. What incredible, exciting times we are a part of. I think this is groundbreaking, and it's revolutionary for our world. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it and love it, because this is all going to make a better world for all of us.
And then coming up in the next few months, guys, September to December, things are really going to pick up speed here, as Joni has been constantly saying. And we just now saw in the charts, right? I mean, there's the Sarisati that's happening. There's all these Mars transits happening. And the nodes are going to move at the end of November. So we have a lot of activity happening. So one of the things I can tell you, and I'm a part of this group, is Joni's Shooting Stars series. I'm really not trying to put a plug in here, but I want to just let you guys know how good this group is, because while Joni was talking about mass consciousness, I wanted to, it suddenly reminded me of something that we talked about in the group the other day, because we constantly talk about how to raise our energy, how to manifest, how to think positive, how to release the negative. And Joni, I know you remember this, but I remember somebody talked about how to, while you're meditating, think about what's bothering you, your fears or your insecurities, or, with everything happening in the world, we are constantly bombarded with negative information. So what you can do is, and this is a technique that somebody said, that you put that in a bubble. And when you think about it in meditation, just mentally release that bubble and let it go up in the air and let it explode. And that's the visualization of taking that negativity and fear out of you. So again, what I want to let you guys know is that this particular Shooting Star series, every week we meet and we go over problems that people are facing, personal problems, and we help them. We raise their vibration, we raise their consciousness, and we have inspirational speakers coming here. They speak about their life and their tools of how to manage these things. So if you have a chance, please do join this series. And, we do record it if you're not able to join at noon on Tuesdays. It is recorded, but it does give you that little capsule. You know how we talk about take your supplements, take your vitamins, make sure you bring your immunity up. I feel like this is a little capsule every Tuesday. It's for your spiritual immunity, not your physical immunity.
Yeah, you get guidance every week, and I give homework. I'm like, go. The last thing I said in the class that I taught was to pay attention to what you're saying, because when you say something, it's more powerful than when you think it. You're putting it out there. It's like an affirmation. It's like a mantra. And if you're constantly using negative words, guess what your life is going to feel like? So I actually make people have homework, work on themselves all the week, and then we discuss it the next week. And then we talk about other spiritual things. There's a whole array of things that we do for empowerment and spirituality. And it's all in this class. And we have some of the most talented psychics and mediums and doctors in this group, and and people, ordinary people that just contribute so much wisdom to this group. Come listen, come be part of it. We love people to come join us and make this group bigger and more it's an intimate group, and we get to all talk and share. So this is every Wednesday, and it's 12 noon Central Standard Time. But like Cherie says, it's recorded. Some people just watch the recordings. It's like an empowerment recording every week. You don't have to know astrology to be part of this group. So it's Shooting Stars. You'll find it. I have it on a link below as well. Or you can just go to galacticcenter.org, my website, and you'll find it there, Shooting Stars. And get empowered. This is what we all need, inspiration and empowerment. And that's what this group is for the law of attraction, to create what we truly want to manifest. And we have had some amazing miracles with this group of people, haven't we, Cherie? It's happening.
I mean, it's real things that have happened to people who've taken the tools that Joni's talked about and others have talked about, and they've used it in their life. They come back the next week, and it's so encouraging and uplifting to hear them talk about how it has helped them. It's amazing, guys. And I also want to take an opportunity here to thank you all for coming here, waiting on us while we work through our technical issues and asking us all these questions and donating money. And, I do want to tell you that we are going to come back doing this more frequently. And we have made a note, guys, to bring you more countries, more leaders, and bring you more information from around the world. I know somebody asked about PM Modi and India, and I just finished recording a video on my YouTube for that. So, we'll bring you all that information to this channel.
Comments on this, put in your comments. I'll go back, I'll read them. In your comments, put what you need to know in the next one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we'll make sure we bring all of that information to you, because this is fun for us. I mean, just to sit with you guys here and look at charts and analyze things and figure out what's happening. And of course, what is happening will happen, but we are all here to support each other. So let's together raise our consciousness up and make things better for everybody.
Yes, I love that. You said it so perfectly, Shri. Thank you. So everyone, again, thank you for being patient with us and waiting and asking all of these wonderful questions. And we're here to help. So remember, we'll let you know. You can go on my Instagram, which is @JoniPatri. We will inform you in advance about everything that we have going on in terms of when we're going to have meetings, and give you the link. And we'll get it right next time, I promise.
We took notes from the technical geniuses, Joni's son, Austin, and Dia, our technology guru, both helped us a lot. So thank you to both of you. We took notes, so we'll make sure we won't disturb you or bother you again. We'll try to do it again.
Yes, we'll be on time and everything will work. So thank you again. This has been great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Shri.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you so much.
What a wonderful team you make with me. You are so great. So namaste, everyone. Have a great morning, evening, wherever you are around the world, and look